Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. On Sunday, the College Football Playoff Committee released their final set of rankings, which of course included the 4 teams that made the College Football Playoff, along with the 8 teams that made the other 4 New Year's Six bowl games. So today, guys, what we wanted to do is we wanted to briefly preview the 2 big playoff games and briefly preview the other New Year's Six bowl games. We're not sharing any predictions today, but we kind of want to take a look at what is arguably the 6 biggest bowl games of this postseason. So we're going to take a quick look at those, kind of get you hyped for those as we head into this postseason, which begins next Friday. Before we do that, guys, as always, make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe. And of course, make sure to check out everything down in the description below, namely our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. We are going to have spread predictions out for every single bowl game. Every single one. From the Idaho Potato Bowl to the National Championship, we are going to have spread predictions out for every single bowl game on our website, thegridironexpert.com. You can sign up for those down in the description below or following the link there over on our website. Again, we hit over 60% of our bowl bets last year. We're hitting nearly 60% of our college bets this year. We expect to do that again in the bowl games now in 2021. So make sure to sign up for those. It's a year-long subscription. If you buy now, you get it through next year. You get it through all the way through December of next year. So sign up for it, guys. One of the cheapest prices in the country for one of the biggest values in the country. So make sure to take advantage of that. Secondly, before we get started, we are here with this preview now. Tomorrow, we are going to have an Army-Navy prediction video. The only college football game on Saturday, we're going to be predicting it and breaking down what is arguably one of the best rivalries in college football. Bowl predictions. We will be predicting every single bowl game. Those start on Tuesday. So we are less than a week out from bowl predictions starting right here on the Gridiron Expert, and that will carry us through the rest of the year. Hard to believe, but bowl predictions starting on Tuesday. And what a wild year it's been, guys. It's hard to believe that we're finally coming to a close. We have that content basically going from Tuesday through January, so do not miss out on that. So real quick, these are quick hitters, quick previews for the 6 New Year's Six games, the 2 college football playoff games and the other 4 New Year's Six bowl games. Again, we're not predicting these games. We just want to get you hyped. What storylines to watch out for, why these games are going to be exciting. And we'll start with the number 1 seed, Alabama and Cincinnati in the Cotton Bowl, college football playoff game. Winner goes to the national championship. Why is this game intriguing? Mainly because of Cincinnati. Cincinnati becoming the first ever Group of 5 team to make the college football playoff. I would think the majority of America is pulling for Cincinnati here. Maybe unless you're a Notre Dame fan or maybe unless you're an Alabama fan, you're probably secretly rooting for Cincinnati because they are the true underdog story. They were so good last year. They were so good this year. The only unbeaten team in the country, we should add. Only undefeated team in the nation. They get into that 4 seed, and the odds are stacked against them, playing one of the best, if not the best dynasty in college football history, the best coach in college football history, and Nick Saban in Alabama, who are no stranger to this stage. Cincinnati has a chance to try to knock off the Tide and continue to make history. They've already done it by just getting to this point, but now they want more than that. So that's why the Cotton Bowl is going to be so great on New Year's Eve. Alabama, Cincinnati. Can the Bearcats hang with the Crimson Tide? Can they slow down Bryce Young, a Heisman finalist, in this Alabama offense? That's going to be the million-dollar question. Over in the Orange Bowl, we've got Georgia and Michigan, and many are calling this the better of the 2 playoff games. The Orange Bowl down in Miami, Georgia, Michigan. Many believe that's going to be the better matchup. Many think Alabama's going to take Cincinnati out to the doghouse. They're going to beat them by 20, 25 points. It's going to be over at halftime. And then you're going to turn to New Year's Eve night, and you're going to get to see a good game between Georgia and Michigan. Again, we're going to predict these games later. But why is this game intriguing? Well, obviously, there are multiple reasons here. Michigan has been hot. I mean, Michigan has been unbelievable. Dominating win over Ohio State. Dominating win over Iowa in the Big Ten Championship. They are playing some phenomenal football. They are playing unbelievable football, and they're playing it at the right time. They do it from behind a power run game. Unbelievable run game from Hassan Haskins. A great defense led by Aiden Hutchinson, who was also a Heisman finalist. Michigan and Jim Harbaugh have really been a major surprise, I think, for many this season. And right now they look unbeatable. The number 2 team in the country, and right now they look unbeatable. We also said that about Georgia, though. We said Georgia looked unbeatable, and then they went and lost by 17 to Alabama in the SEC championship game. So the million-dollar question here is 2 things. First off, how does Georgia respond from that loss to Alabama? They knew they were a lock for the playoff. They were either going to be the 1 seed or really the 3 seed. They got the 3. Didn't really matter. It was playing Michigan or Cincinnati. It didn't really matter. You know, how does Georgia respond from that loss to Alabama? They obviously would love to get a rematch against the Crimson Tide in the national championship game. Secondly, how does Michigan run the ball against Georgia? The Bulldogs have had arguably the best defense in the country all year long. It didn't look like against Alabama, but against other teams they have been. And their rushing defense is still one of the best. Even against Alabama, it was still one of the best in the country. Still unbelievable, allowing roughly 75 rushing yards per game. Michigan wants to win the game on the ground. Will Georgia allow that? Can Michigan get anything going against Georgia? That's going to be the million-dollar question. So it's Michigan's running offense against Georgia's rushing defense. That's where the game is going to be made. Jordan Davis for Georgia on defense. Aiden Hutchinson for Michigan on defense. Georgia's quarterback controversy. Will they stick with Stetson Bennett? Will they go with JT Daniels? So many things are at stake and so many questions are at large going into this Orange Bowl, and that's why this is a game that you need to watch. Moving down into the other New Year's Six bowl games, you know, we got a lot of teams that made these bowl guys that typically don't. Michigan State, Pittsburgh, Baylor, Ole Miss. Guys like that typically do not make a New Year's Six bowl game. When they do, it's few and far between. We'll start with the Peach Bowl. Number 12, Pittsburgh against number 10, Michigan State. Great matchup. And a great matchup between two great offensive players. Kenny Pickett, a Heisman finalist, for Pittsburgh, one of the best quarterbacks in the country all year long. Pittsburgh winning the ACC against Michigan State, who is led by their star running back in Kenneth Walker III. Michigan State had their chance at the playoff, had their chance to win the Big Ten, but got annihilated by Ohio State, and that ended any chances that they had of even making their conference championship game. So it's going to be interesting to see here, guys. First off, right now, we don't know which players are going to opt out. You know, it wouldn't be shocking to see some players opt out on either side, but I'm not expecting Kenny Pickett or Kenneth Walker to opt out. All right, the two biggest playmakers for each team in a bowl game that is a big deal for each of these programs. Each have a chance to improve their draft stock, especially Kenny Pickett. I don't expect either to opt out. One thing to keep your eye on, though, is that Pittsburgh's offensive coordinator Mark Whipple just resigned and will not be coaching in this Peach Bowl. So how does that affect the Panthers offensively? How does that affect Kenny Pickett's game going up against what I believe has been a relatively underrated Michigan State defense, especially against the run? Against the pass, they have been horrendous. So it's going to be a matter of Kenny Pickett being able to exploit that Michigan State secondary that was torched against Ohio State. It really has been torched against any team that's had a competent passing attack, and Pittsburgh certainly has that. So again, Pittsburgh's passing offense, Michigan State's passing defense, that's going to be the story to watch here, along with Pittsburgh being without their offensive coordinator. The Fiesta Bowl, number 9 Oklahoma State, number 5 Notre Dame. Why is this an intriguing game? The bigger storyline here is Brian Kelly has left Notre Dame to go become the head coach at LSU. Notre Dame promoted their defensive coordinator Marcus Freeman to head coach. Brian Kelly was never really able to win the big games with Notre Dame. Made 2 playoff appearances, never won in the semifinal, made a national championship back in 2012, got annihilated by Alabama, made a handful of other New Year's Six caliber bowl games, didn't win them. Well, Marcus Freeman is going to be coaching his first game as the new head coach of Notre Dame. Can he win a New Year's Six bowl game for the Fighting Irish in his first game, not first season, first game as head coach for the Fighting Irish, doing something that really Brian Kelly was never able to do? That's something that I'm looking at here in this Fiesta Bowl. So a great matchup between a very strong Notre Dame defense against an Oklahoma State defense that also is very strong, but just lost their defensive coordinator in Jim Knowles, who left for Ohio State. So again, 2 great defenses here. It's going to come down to which offense really gets it going. Is it going to be Jack Cohn in Notre Dame, or is it going to be Spencer Sanders in Oklahoma State? So again, an intriguing head coaching battle here. Marcus Freeman and obviously the newfound energy that Notre Dame has despite the loss of their head coach against Oklahoma State, who was 1 play away from making the college football playoff, literally inches away from arguably making the college football playoff, and they have Baylor to thank for that. So again, motivation is going to be a factor here for Oklahoma State. We'll touch more on that in the future when we predict the Fiesta Bowl. Last 2 games, Rose Bowl, number 11 Utah, number 6 Ohio State. Utah, like I would say Cincinnati, like I would say Michigan, mostly Michigan, has been one of the hottest teams in the country. They started off 1-2, they're 10-3. They've won 9 of their last 10 games, including 2 blowout victories over Oregon, including one of the Pac-12 championship games. So Utah has been quite the surprise this year, and just seems to be getting better and better with every single week that passes. They're doing that, guys, from what's been a decent defense, but an offense led by Cam Rising that has come out of nowhere. I wholeheartedly believe that Utah's offense can hang with Ohio State's offense, an Ohio State offense that I still believe is the best in the country. An Ohio State offense I believe statistically is the best in the country. C.J. Stroud, Travion Henderson, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, guys like that. This Ohio State offense is so tough to stop, and Utah's going to have their hands full in this Rose Bowl. Obviously, a major accomplishment for Kyle Whittingham and this Ute squad. So, Utah being in the Rose Bowl is very rare. That doesn't happen. So, this is obviously a very emotional, big game for the Utes. Ohio State, they're going to be disappointed on missing out in the college football playoff, something we knew was not going to happen as soon as they lost to Michigan. So, motivation, will it be there for Ohio State? We know it will be for Utah. This is a game that very well could be a high-scoring game. Comes down to defense when it's all said and done. And then finally, the Sugar Bowl, number 7 Baylor, who I think has been disrespected all year long, going up against number 8 Ole Miss and their prolific offense. And a game, again, where opt-outs could be an issue. Will Matt Corral for Ole Miss end up opting out of this game? You know, that's a possibility. We don't know that now, but Corral's expected to be one of the top quarterbacks taken off the board in next year's NFL draft. You could see him choosing to opt out of this game. You could also see some struggles offensively for Ole Miss, as their offensive coordinator, Jeff Lebby, is expected to take the position, same offensive coordinator position at Oklahoma, under new head coach Brent Venables, who was hired away from Clemson. So, again, Ole Miss dealing with some losses on the coaching staff. Baylor, all the momentum and all of the motivation in the world, having won the Big 12 after going 2-7 last year, winning the Big 12, preventing Oklahoma State from making the playoff, getting that goal line stand in the final second. Their defense has been phenomenal. Their offense has been one of the most balanced in the country, especially when Gary Bohannon's in there at quarterback. Baylor does, as a matter of fact, have the offense to hang with Ole Miss. Many teams don't have that. Baylor does. So this Sugar Bowl, guys, many will look at Ole Miss and say they've got this thing in the bag. Don't sleep on the Bears. Do not sleep on Baylor. They have what it takes to beat Ole Miss in this game. And very similar to maybe the Rose Bowl, I could see this being a high-scoring game, guys. Both offenses have the chance to score very quickly. They have big playability. It's going to come down to defense and, as some would say, maybe even motivation in this game. An edge where I think Baylor actually has. Again, we're not predicting Baylor to win this game, but again, we'll share those predictions later on. But this is a game that I think is going to be very interesting to see how Lane Kiffin and the Rebels respond going into New Orleans later on in January. So there you have it, guys. We've got 6 huge games coming your way over the following weeks. Obviously, the 2 playoff matchups are going to be huge. But then these New Year's 6 bowl games, guys, are so exciting and so big for these programs. It's huge for recruiting. It's huge for momentum going into next year. Huge for these players that did so much this season just to get there. I mean, Pittsburgh getting into the Peach Bowl after winning the ACC. You've got Baylor winning the Big 12 and getting into the Sugar Bowl. You know, these are teams that, again, we typically maybe don't see in a New Year's 6 caliber bowl game, and now we're getting to see them. Tons of intriguing matchups, tons of intriguing storylines, and more things are going to continue to develop and maybe change our thoughts and predictions on these games as we get closer to kickoff for these games. So much to monitor over these next few weeks. And again, we will have predictions for them later on, closer to time. But bowl predictions do start on Tuesday. Every single bowl game coming your way right here at the Gridiron Expert. You do not want to miss it. These, of course, are going to be the highlights when we get to that point. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. Those expert picks aren't going anywhere, but you need to jump on them soon. Every single bowl game will be predicted here, and every single bowl game against the spread will be predicted on our website, thegridironexpert.com. So if you've not signed up for those, sign up now. It is a deal that you will not regret because you're going to make money on it. You are going to make money on it. So take advantage of it now. Again, thegridironexpert.com, link down in the description below. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on The Gridiron Expert.